Yeah, welcome to this new video about the round 8 of the Biel tournament, and I must say it's a really brilliant tournament with such a low rate of draws. It's all decisive games. Also this round, there was no draw this round, and it's really a tough race for first place. Yeah, let's talk about the games first that I won't feature. Magnus Carlsen won again against Victor Bologan, who continues to play rather enterprising openings despite his very low score. He played the Benko Gambit against Magnus today, and well, what can you say? Magnus took the pawn and yeah, converted this. It's I don't know, rather risky choice maybe at this level to play this opening. I think even after move 20 or something, I think Magnus was clearly better and just won this game. Maybe a bit simplified this this description, but it's not so far from the truth, I guess. And we also had Etienne Bacrot against Anish Giri, who's also fighting still for first place with a great tournament. And Giri actually managed to win with black in a very sharp game where Bacrot launched a kingside attack, and yeah, the whole board was was burning. And I don't know, maybe it could have gone either way, but at the end Giri won, and he's still in contention for the tournament victory. The third game was Nakamura with white against Wang Hao, and yeah, very clear. This game, Nakamura needed to win to get close to something, to the top in this tournament. And Wang Hao, in an ideal world, also would like to win, of course. But of course, losing would be very bad, as Magnus was a huge favorite today against Bologan and won this game. So Wang Hao, yeah, surely should win or at least draw this game to stay in contention after he lost yesterday against Magnus. So really a very good starting point for this game, for a big fight. And Nakamura plays c4. He mixes his moves, so c4 again. And we got an English opening here with e5. And now he plays g3. This is a rather, a bit uncommon move order, but it's got some specific ideas. Nakamura earlier, I'm not sure, this year or last year, I think this year even, he played a game with this line as white. And then here he played the amazing new concept with e3 followed by knight e2 and f4 against Navarra. Really a new idea in this kind of position. And he won a nice game. So maybe he was aiming for this kind of setup. But Wang Hao played c6, the really classic answer to this, which was, or at least is named after Paul Keres. Hikaru played knight f3 here. The point of the c6 move actually is that if white continues with the normal looking bishop g2, then black can play d5. And here, at first you think white is just winning this pawn or winning something on b7, but black has this kind of stuff.
Check.
And black gets a huge compensation for his pawn, something like this, and this is, white really fights for his life here. It's not advisable to play like this. So of course Nakamura avoided this. He played knight f3, attacking this pawn, and black advanced it, not much choice. And here queen b6, attacking the knight directly. Yeah, e3 is also not so great, so you need to move this knight again. And now Wang Hao played the very concrete a5, attacking or intending to attack this knight, which has no square actually. White needs to do something concrete now to save this piece, and he plays d3. The idea being, and it's revealed in the game, black played a4 now, and now played bishop e3, gaining a tempo on the queen, so that after the queen move, the knight has a nice square here on d2, and a very uncommon position, as arisen here, e4 and e4, this very strange pawns. Yeah, black now captured on d3, and here we see very interesting choice. I think a good choice, but an interesting nonetheless. Nakamura now took on a4. The problem was that if you would take on d3, which looks like a normal move, then black has the very annoying answer a3. And what should white do now? You don't really want black to take on b2, but yeah, maybe you need to. The problem being that the normal looking move b3 is answered by bishop b4. And now you see this is a pretty uncomfortable pin, and this knight has lost its footing on c3. The b2 pawn has moved, and all these black squares are rather weak. So, for example, something like rook c1 and now d5 with the idea d4 is already very good for black. It's yeah, quite a strange setup here with this a pawn, but it's very good for black. Okay, so this was not possible, the simple recapture, I mean, this here. So we needed to take here, basically, not much else. And now black played d5, striking in the center. Yeah, well, here you still have issues with taking on d3. He played bishop b6, but let's look briefly if he would have taken. If white takes now, then the problem is this move with the tempo, and now there are different possibilities. The main problem being that this knight doesn't have a square. Even b5 immediately is something to consider. Not sure if it's so great, but you can consider this. Let's just say something like this, and you still have no idea where to go with this piece. It's rather complicated, but well, if the rook is attacked, so if this rook moves, then b8 is hanging. It's complicated, but black doesn't need to play b5 straight away. He can also play a normal move like, I don't know, this here, and yeah, intending to play this. Also, queen a5 is a problem, so it's not advisable to recapture. Very complicated stuff right in the first moves. I'm not sure. I also doubt that this is some sort of preparation. But they were playing rather quickly. I just saw it. Okay, so he played bishop b6 after some thought, attacking the queen. Yeah, and the queen needed to move. Bishop c5, attacking the queen again, and it went to c7. Yeah, now he took on f8 and king recapture. So white has succeeded to exchange this e3 bishop for f8 bishop, but black has lost the right to castle, and well, the king is not a problem really, it's not in danger, but black needs to do something with the rook on h8. Very unconventional position here. Queen b3 played, which also takes a look at the b5 square, so that b5 is yeah, it's harder to play for black, and also white might intend to move the knight even to b6. So knight bd7 is very understandable to keep this knight out of play. And here Hikaru took on d5. Yeah, black recaptures. I don't know, it didn't. It would have been an idea. Knight d5 wasn't a bad move, but I forgot he played queen a5, which is also very interesting to set up this pin. And this is a main theme now of this game, said that white has got slightly badly coordinated pieces, and he still has got the king on e1, which also doesn't help the rook, so it's a very complicated position. He now grabbed on c6, and now actually, yeah, white has an extra pawn, but it's a very difficult position to play because of the somewhat less than perfect piece coordination. The knight dropped back, not much choice, and here knight c5 was played, and queen c4. I also had a brief look at the alternative queen d1 here. The sort of yeah, it looks sort of passive, but maybe it's an idea to cover this knight. But black has a very nice compensation just with normal moves like bishop f5 rook b8 to come. White really has problems with getting his pieces out. So black is, I think, quite okay. He can also think about moving the h-pawn to get the rook into play, or just play g6, king g7, rook e8, stuff like that. Black has very nice compensation. So I think queen c4 was perfectly alright. Also, yeah, threatening something. Here black played knight d5, which is really a sharp move. He could have also considered to take on e2, which would have been simple but fine, I think. White recaptures, and then this bishop a6. And then I think white has not much choice. He needs to play b4 to get rid of pieces, and something like this might follow. And this should be around equal. But maybe black was already thinking about more. He decided to play this knight d5 move, which is interesting, of course. White now captured the knight, recapture, and queen f4. Yeah, you could also think about queen d5, but well, this is really risky. Bishop d7, check here, and then you need to play something ugly like f3. And my first instinct was, okay, this should be downright awful for white, but it's not so easy, actually. Maybe you can think about this, but it's for human, it's so ugly, this position, hard to believe. Maybe h5 now with this idea. Black has huge compensation for 2 pawns. I mean, I would take black in an instant here. So, okay, it's very understandable that Nakamura didn't capture d5, but just played queen f4, which also covers the sensitive knight. Yeah, and here black played knight to e6, attacking the queen, which gave a check. King g8, and now e3. And yeah, white sort of managed to quieten down the position a bit, but you still have this pinning business going, and it's still difficult, really difficult to play. Bishop h6 now, a6 now to cover the d3 pawn. Yeah, here white had a choice. Nakamura played bishop g2, which I think is okay. There was an alternative in going bishop h3 also, attacking the knight with this possible idea, knight c5, and then to play b4. The problem is that knight b3 was threatened with a sort of strange double pin, but b4 is possible. Something like this, just a sample line. It's far from forced. And then castles, because both knights are actually hanging, and you could get something like this with attack on f7. And this actually ended very nice for white. He will get the d pawn and have an extra pawn, at least an extra pawn. So I think maybe bishop h3 was worth considering, but it's a really tough position to play with not much time on the clock. But okay, white had some extra minutes compared to Wang Hao. He was really down on time. But bishop g2 is not bad, it seems. Rook d8, attacking the queen, which needed to move, of course. And now h5, very understandable. Need to get the rook into play somewhere, and even attending h4. So white reacted with a normal looking move h4, stopping black's h-pawn. And now the mentioned rook h6. And a3, also a good move with the idea of playing b4 to finally get rid of this pin. So I think they really did a good job here, very good good play. And now b4, and black played d4. Need to get forward somehow. If white manages to castle and get 1 or 2 extra moves, then black is a wreck. He needs to get things going quickly, and this is also good, with the idea of getting the knight to c3. And we see Wang Hao here in huge time trouble. He's on 30 seconds. Nakamura castles, and rook e8, gaining a tempo. And now the knight goes on his mentioned route. Black still down on time. He gained a little bit of time because of the 30-second increment. Knight b3, knight c3. And here, in this position, I think Nakamura made a mistake, but it's a super difficult position. It's very easy for me to look at this and check the ideas with the computer and say, okay, this is a mistake and so on. I mean, it's hugely complicated. Black has all those counterplay ideas with this d-pawn. The knight here, the knight on e2 is really a monster piece. On c3 already strong, but on e2 it also has the g3 pawn on the attack, so that rook g8 is a possibility. Rook g6, sorry, not g8, rook g6 also pointing here. So Nakamura played knight d2 back to cover the pawn, amongst others. I think if you look at it with the comp, it tells you knight c5 is actually okay for white. A possible continuation would be knight e2, king to h2, rook g6, just a sample line. And white can retreat here, and then black would play queen d6, and as I mentioned, he's got everything on g3, and this is one problem. This is very hard to cover. This is actually a draw already, because white needs to do something here. If he plays a move like this, then black can actually even sacrifice on g3. So black's counterplay is very strong. And this is a draw.
Check.
With a perpetual. It's just a sample line to it. It's very hard to do a really deep analysis, because there are so much possibilities in this position. For instance, here instead of this move, white could also move the queen somewhere else. Let's say to d5. And it's a whole different story. So the point is really he needed to go knight c5, because knight d2 leads white into huge trouble. But it's very difficult to play this, and very difficult to see. The problem is really this issue with the g3, knight e2 and rook g6 all pile up on the g-pawn, which looks very nicely protected. But the other issue also is that white's queen is a bit short on squares. It only has good squares where you don't really want to go to. So we can check alternatives here. Nakamura played knight f3 actually, and gave away this pawn. And the thing is, where would you go with the queen? Black is intending various very uncomfortable moves. One being rook e5. And the queen doesn't have a square at all, only f4 where it runs into knight e2, winning it. So white has to do something to get squares for his queen. One idea could be queen to f5 to actually get this or this square. But this also gives black a very nice initiative with more than one move actually. A very strange, at least for me, move is the computer's move here, which is queen c7. I really don't understand this move. I need to be honest here. One idea could be to actually do something like this, or enter with the queen on c2. So of course these computer moves, if it tells you it is the best one in this kind of tactical position, the computer is most probably right. but it's a very unnatural move for a human player to play queen c7 here. But it's already difficult for white anyway to play this position. It's not the only move that you can think of. Also, just piling up here, as I mentioned, is rather dangerous. It's not at all easy to play for white. The queen is just a problem piece. He wouldn't have this issues with the knight on c5, because the knight on c5 also would control some squares actively. So at the end, he decided to play knight f3, and as you see, he's now down on the clock as well. A very big turn of events here. It was rather unclear to moves to go, but now black really took the initiative, got the pawn back, and he still has got this activity going. Hikaru now with rook e1, a cool trick, but it doesn't really bring so big gains. Wang Hao now played the very cool move rook h to e6. Of course the queen was hanging, so we need to check this. If black would have taken it, then check. White can capture on e8 with check.
Check.
g5 with check. Check. And it's all checks here. Oops, no, not this move, sorry. Here white can play the very weird looking move bishop h7, which intends knight e4 with checkmate even. And black needs to do something about this, and it's the only move is really this one, and then you take here. I confused this move order. Yeah, and here I think white is somewhat better. This king here is a problem. Maybe if you look at it deeper, you can find even something concrete for white, but it's definitely not a position you want to play as black. So Wang Hao played this rook h to e6 move, which is much stronger, keeping all the pressure intact. You want to keep your pieces here and don't enforce a very weird material distribution where it's not at all clear if you're better. And now the queen is hanging for real. It needs to move, and at the end he grabbed the h5 pawn. It's questionable if other moves are really better. One alternative could have been to retreat the queen all the way to get this square also still covered. But black has more than one good move. One good move actually is bishop b7, redeploying this. Oops, not here. But f2 is also a sensitive square. It's not bad, but not by the bishop. So bishop b7 is a rather strong move. The idea being, let's just do a sample line that black is intending now to invade here, and I think it's almost impossible to hold this. Let's say rook e6, and then just do this move, and it's really a big problem. What white should play here? Let's say rook e1, just to give an example. Then black plays this one, and now it gets very tricky. The pawn even threatening this move, and I mean these pawns here will just decide this game. Yeah, black just has a huge initiative now, and I think it's just lost. He took h5, and then d2, the d pawn, and not much to do. What should white play? He moved the rook away, and now bishop e2. It looks bad at first, but it's actually dead lost. It's not like you can't do anything. One problem being that the simple reply here shows that this bishop has also set up a pin here on the queen. So what should white do? He cannot even sacrifice the exchange, and there's simply no move. If white would play something like this, removing the rook, then yeah, then black can already strike with knight takes f2, and this is yeah, just winning instantly. The point being that this suddenly attacks the g3 pawn and white cannot cover it. Just terrible. Here you can just capture and it's all over.
Check. Check.
Stuff like this, and it's dead loss. Yeah, white gets just destroyed now. He played queen a5, and here Wang Hao played it simple, understandably with 1 minute on the clock. Here even this was possible with an instant win, but it's not important. He just grabbed this this rook, and in this position played this move, also very strong, really tearing open white's position. I think this is very strong play here with 1 minute on the clock. Very decisive. You also could have played any move. You've got an extra exchange, but this just yeah, kills instantly. What should white do? He at the end captured on d2, but there was not much else. If you take here, then this move simply decides, because this threat, this threat here is yeah, it's nothing you can do. Rook e1 just wins next move, and the combined forces of black lead to a mate here. So he cannot capture here on g3. So what should you do? Well, as mentioned, he captured, but now
check.
This rook e1 just decides instantly. He grabbed it.
Check.
Yeah, and here if white goes king h2, it's just
check. Check.
A direct mate. You can do this one, and then it's checkmate quite nicely here. Yeah, so white couldn't do that. Let's return. So on
check.
Rook takes e1 check, he actually still played bishop f1, and after, yeah, he didn't even await sorry, didn't even await black's move. He can just play here, threatening queen h2 checkmate. The rook is hanging and black is a piece up and everything at once. So complete win for black. Yeah, very nice win by Wang Hao at the end from a really totally weird and unclear position. I think the main point here was this knight d2 move, which somehow led to huge trouble for white, but it's very hard to spot because it's very natural to block the pawn also. Yeah, a very important game, of course, for the tournament, as now we are clear that the leader, yeah, the winner of the tournament will be decided among Carlsen, Wang Hao, and Giri. Carlsen and Wang Hao both have 16 points in this 3-point scoring system, and Giri has got 15. He's just 1 point behind. All three playing a great tournament. Actually, Magnus, with his win today, has come about 5 points short about Garry Kasparov's all-time ELO record of 2,851. And if he would win his last 2 games, he would actually break this record. I'm not sure if it is very important for him, because I think it's very obvious that he will break this record anyway. It's just a matter of time. And I also bet, if he plays, let's say, for 5 years or so, we'll also see 2,900. I would take bets on that. All right, so thanks a lot for watching. I think a very interesting fighting game. I think for the fans of Hikaru, not a good day, but it happens if you play that enterprising and aggressive chess. It just happens that once in a while you get lost in the complications, and Wang Hao really did a good job, I think, to get compensation and complicate matters here. Yeah, thanks for watching, and talk to you soon, I think, probably with round 9.